Tom and Jerry Back to Oz is the 2016 sequel to Tom and Jerry and the Wizard of Oz. And I have seen the other one. It's been quite a while, but I remembered it well enough that I was confident going into this. But it is, of course, a fresh story. And this is directed by Spike Brandt and Tony Carvone, written by Paul Dini, based, of course, on the story and characters by L. Frank Baum. And it takes place shortly after the return from Oz, and Dorothy and her family are in a bit of a difficult situation because they need to get the money to keep the animals. And then, while they're dealing with that, the Cowardly Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Man come to retrieve Dorothy and Tom and Jerry to go back to Oz. Because there is a problem there. I don't want to go into too much detail about the problem. I didn't have any background information before going into this, and I really enjoyed watching it that way because it meant that I had no idea what was going to happen. And for me personally, I tend to prefer that about films. I like to know, other than maybe the main overarching narrative, I like to know as little as possible. But let's just put it this way, there is a problem that's threatening a lot of things, and Dorothy the others go there, and also Dorothy's slippers are potentially under threat as well. And I have to say, the slippers in this are gorgeous. The scenes in Kansas are in sepia, but we see her ruby slippers sparkling, and it's just absolutely stunning. And of course, the scenes in Oz are very vibrant and brightly coloured and beautifully animated, and visually, it is really appealing. As for the narrative, it's fine. I didn't love it that much, obviously because I didn't really know what it was going to be about going into it. I liked that mystery element and not really sure what was going to happen until things unfolded. But that being said, I didn't love it when it happened. It was fine. I definitely had this appreciation for the character of the Gnome King and how well this character was written, and the kind of antagonist he was, I think, worked really well. In fact, all of the characters in this are very effective, and obviously we have some classic characters like Glinda and obviously the Cowardly Lion and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow, all of whom are really great. And we have Toto. I don't love the design of Toto. I don't remember if I thought this with the first film, the previous film, but I just don't love. There's something about the design of Toto that I just don't think looks like Toto. I know it shouldn't look like the classic version, but if you're going to adopt the designs of other characters, then it would have made sense to make Toto look a little bit more like Toto. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm overanalyzing it. I probably am. The story is okay. I think it has a clear cut beginning, middle, end. The narrative structure is fine. It's certainly not the most predictable in some ways, but in others, it's safely predictable. It doesn't throw up anything that doesn't make any sense or anything, so it's absolutely fine. But I think out of the two, I do prefer the first film. I think the narrative's just much more interesting. Having said that, I'm not the biggest fan of The Wizard of Oz as a film. I've mentioned this before, but the characters I do really like, and this certainly comes across in this film. Tom and Jerry didn't necessarily need to be in it. It could have worked without them. It wouldn't have been a Tom and Jerry film. But the point is that the roles those characters play are well and good. They do fit into the narrative, but also the story could have worked without them. So it does feel like a Tom and Jerry film, but I wish it centered more around them, if that makes sense. But Dorothy is still obviously a really likable character. Dorothy is voiced by Griffin, and the characters, all of the vocal performances, in fact, were really good. So I enjoyed it. I probably wouldn't watch it a second time, and it certainly isn't my favourite Tom and Jerry film. But that being said, if you've seen the first film and you enjoyed it, then I'd say give Back to Oz a go. It's not too bad. The animation is really beautiful. The animation quality is stunning, and the characters are likable. The narrative flows fairly well. Not my favourite actual narrative, but that being said, I didn't mind it. Tom and Jerry Back to Oz as a one-time watch is not too bad.